So yesterday we are done with indexes, right? I already uploaded that file also. So with the index concept, everything is clear, or do you have any doubts, questions?
Ma'am, what is the difference between view and temporary table?
I will tell. I will tell. Today we will discuss CTEs. CTE is also related to views and temporary table. After discussing CTEs, I will explain the difference between three at a time.
Okay.
Okay.
Divya,
Yes,
please
ma'am.
please explain that syntax, lots syntax, Divya. I'm confused on ISCN, name.
This one.
Yeah. The cursor is no, the top one. Yeah, that one.
Okay, actually, it's nothing. In index, we will just create the index, or else we will just drop the index. Only two things we will do on the index, right? So for creating index, we are having two methods. Either we can use create command or we can use alter command. So if I'm using create command, normally I will write like this: create index name on table name of column name. That is what I wrote. This is one index name on employees table. I mean employee one table. For the employee name, I'm creating the index. I need to write from which table on which column I'm creating the index. Okay. And the another way of creating index is by using alter command. Alter table name, add index name. Basically, this is the index name. Just to differentiate, I wrote like this because in every batch I will create indexes, right? Sometimes I will forget to drop the index. We need to maintain, we need to write a unique index name. This is
Okay.
just the index name. I can write anything else. Suppose I can write add index, maybe as this is employee name, I can write. I usually in real time also we will try to write ix for index. Okay, like first letter and last letter from index. So like that I wrote something like that. Any name we can give here. It's okay. That will be just the index name.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Mm.
You're welcome. Here also index name. Whenever we are dropping again, that index name only we need to write here. Suppose if I created this this name for index, I need to use that index name only inside the drop command. Then only it will remove. Okay, this is just a index name. You can write whatever you want. Okay.
Okay, Divya, thank
Yeah. I hope the concept is okay for everyone. Indexes concept.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, great. So let's start cities. As I said, Shushavan, city is also a related concept. Once I'm done with that, I will try to explain the difference between three. Okay, together.
But
So,
ma'am, cities are kind of subqueries, right? I mean,
right. Actually, we will use CTEs as a kind of subqueries, but we have one concept for CTE which is related to views and temporary tables. Let's see that. Okay, so today we are starting a new concept called as CTEs. CTEs is also called as common table expression. Okay, basically, as I said, CTE is also a related concept. Along with how we deal with views, how we deal with uh, stored, not stored procedure. What was that temporary table? CT is also a kind of temporary table. In temporary table, what we did, we are just created a table temporarily, right? In temporary table, what we did, we just created. If we create any temporary table, what happened? That table was created temporarily, and we can write or we can insert, we can use anything in it same like the table, but the condition here is this temporary table will exist till our workbench is active, right? Once the session is inactive or once we close the workbench, the temporary table will be erased completely, correct? See, let me explain once again. Let me give you the difference between views and temporary tables. We will create views to store any queries, right? if I want to store any queries, instead of writing some big queries, long queries, normal SQL queries, I can store that queries inside the view, right? And whatever views we are creating, that views will be permanently saved in the database, right? If suppose this is Maven movies, like how my tables are storing in the databases, whatever views I will create, that views will also temporarily, not temporarily, views will also permanently store in the database until and unless I drop my view, same like the table. If I create any table also, it will save in the database. If I drop that table only, it will remove, or else it will save permanently in the database. In the same way, views also, whenever we create a view, it will save permanently in the database until and unless we drop. What is the use of view? In the sense, instead of writing long queries, we can write any query inside the view. That is, we are storing some queries inside the view so that we can use it further if needed. Okay, that is views. Clear, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Next, yeah, great.
No,
Next
ma'am, I
we
didn't
have,
understand.
you attended this views concept, right?
Yeah. I attended views
So
concept, but difference
mm,
between views and temporary table, I didn't get it.
see, views, what we did, we are just storing any queries inside the views, right? I created some view, whatever query we have. Suppose select star from film where rating is equals to PG. What I did, I stored completely one query inside a view. This is a small query where we used where clause, or else I can store some big joins also inside a view. We also saw that views in Tableau class also, Shushavan. What we did, we created some inner joins and all the joins, and we stored views. Inside the views we stored joins, right?
Yeah.
So like that, we can store any kind of big codes, like maybe joins along with the group by clauses, like that. How many lines of code we have? Something like some queries, any type of queries, we will store inside the view, so that instead of writing this query again and again, I can use this view, and directly I can from that view I can get my output directly. Instead of joining 3 4 tables again and again, we can just join those tables one time in view, and by using that view name, we can display that data, that joins data. Just whatever, I can say whatever queries, if we think we are going to use very frequently in our project, that queries we can store in the form of view, so that it will help us to, instead of writing the queries again and again, by using views also we can deal with that. It will just save our time, like that. We are just storing any queries inside the view, and that views will be stored permanently in the database. Okay.
Okay. But temporary table won't store permanently, right?
Temporary
Once we
table,
close
yeah,
the.
that's it. Once we close the workbench, the temporary table will be erased. Here also we can store any number of queries, whatever we can do, we can store whatever queries. Like, as I said, as once we close this workbench, this temporary table will be erased. So what is the need of storing long queries in the temporary table? That is the reason, only to remove the duplicate values we will use temporary tables. I mean, we prefer to use, or else it's up to you, you can use however you want. Whenever we create a temporary table, that what it is doing, it is just temporarily a table is creating, but again you can see the output of the table, but it is not, it won't what you call, it won't be able to store in the database. Inside the tables also we cannot see whatever temporary table I created. Anywhere I cannot able to see that, it won't store physically in the database. What if I create any temporary table, it will just temporarily store, okay, and it will just display the output. If I created like this, inside that temporary table I wrote one statement, whenever I executed, it will display the output for me. Okay, but it won't store in the, basically table won't create on the database. Okay, once my workbench is closed, once I close my workbench, this temporary table will be erased completely. Okay.
Yeah, understood.
So basically for storing queries only, if we want to store some queries, we will use views that will store permanently in the database, so that for future, in future purpose also, if we want, we can access views. But whereas temporary tables also, we are storing some queries we are inside the temporary table, but it is just temporarily. Whenever up to our workbench is closed, up to our session is inactive, it will be the existence will be, the scope of that temporary table is for that only, when till our session will be active. Once I close my workbench, it will be erased. Okay, clear?
Yeah.
Now please listen carefully. We have another concept called as cts. Cts is something, again, this is also, we can store any kind of queries inside the cts. Any kind of queries, maybe joins, maybe subqueries, normal syntaxes, like, however I stored normal select star from, normal table select syntax, every syntaxes, even small syntaxes, even a large joins, even complex, I mean even correlated subqueries, whatever it is, all the concepts whatever we learned so far, all those concepts we can store inside cte also. Okay, but this existence or the scope of the cte is only for that particular query itself. Here temporary table, what I am doing, if, let me close this. Here temporary table, what I am doing, if I am storing anything inside the temporary table, if I work after I mean, I suppose, imagine I stored some syntaxes inside the temporary table. Okay, after that I again perform some other queries or some other work here, but still my session is active, I'm using my sql workbench, I'm not closing it. I can do any other work also. Until and unless I close this workbench, that temporary table will exist. Okay, whereas cts, if I store any query inside the cts and if I just execute that, it will it will be remain for that execution only. Once I execute that, that cte will be removed. Let's solve some examples, then you can understand. Okay, as you said, ctes will be used inside a subqueries a lot. That is that's all, but that is not a kind of subquery, or that is not cts we won't use only to write the subqueries. Okay, so let's solve some examples, then you can understand. Whatever questions we solved so far, maybe from by using joins, by using subqueries, everything, all that queries we can solve by using ctes also. Okay, so cte is also called as common table expression. Okay, so again, if you if I want to define a cte, I can say cte is a kind of temporary table. It is not a temporary table, but it is a kind of temporary table
Then it might
which
have some
has, sorry,
it, it might have some extra feature other than temporary tables.
yeah, yeah, I'll tell. Let's solve an example, then you can understand why we are using ctes here. Basically in subqueries, whenever we are using subqueries, we prefer to use cte. Why we are using that, let's see. Okay, so cte is a kind of temporary table which has the existence only for that query. I mean, I'm just talking about the scope of that CTE. Until, I mean, once I executed that query, that CTE will be removed. Okay, so that existence, that CTE will be in existence up to, I mean, only for that query, up to the execution of that query only. Okay, let's see. Let's see some examples, then you can understand. I already activated my Maven movies. So suppose select star from film. Okay, we know we have rating column in uh, film table, right? Basically in CTs we will store long queries only, but for to make you understand, for the first example I will show you small example. Okay, we won't store this simple syntax inside the CTE, but if I show you this one, you can understand what CTE is exactly doing. Then we will see some normal subquery related examples. Okay, so we have a film table. If I write select star from film, obviously it will display the film table data, right? Suppose, just imagine if I want to store only this line, only the select query, any kind of queries we can use inside this, we can store inside the CTEs. It may be small, it may be long, but small simple queries obviously we won't store, but still let's try to understand the what CTE is doing here. Okay, so to write CTE so far, whether it may be joins, whether it may be subqueries or everything, we started writing by using select command only. Correct? In CTEs, we will use with CTE as we will write the query, we will start the query by using with command here. Some with is also considered as clause. Someone will call as with clause also, but let's talk about with let's consider it as a keyword only for now. So basically whenever if we want to create CTE, okay, we need to write like this with CTE as. Okay, previously suppose we used as like create maybe for views also we used, right, create view name as, like that. But here we will use with keyword only. I need to say with CTE as. Again, CTE is not the keyword here. Here CTE will be the name of the CTE. Okay, so I'm writing it as with CTE as, and
So
after
instead
that
of CTE, we can write anything, right? Or CTE
any name,
compulsory?
no, any name we can write. But
Okay.
as this is the first example, I'm writing CTE. From next example I will write according to the question, I will write the keyword over there. We can write anything here. Okay, that is what I am saying. This is not the this however we wrote like create view, create index, this is not that kind of keyword. We can write, this is basically CTE name, we can write any name here. Okay, so I will say with CTE as. After writing as, I need to write whatever queries I wanted to store inside the CTE. All that queries I need to write inside the parenthesis, same like subqueries also we did the same, right? So basically I will use the parenthesis here, and inside the brackets I will write any of the queries. Suppose if I am storing this statement, this query, I will write that query inside the brackets. Okay, usually we won't use the small thing, but try to understand. I'm saying with CTE is my CTE name here as select star from film. That means whatever output I will get if I execute this, that output will save in this CTE. Okay, but again this is not a temporary table, this is kind of a temporary table. It won't create a kind of table, but it will store any kind of values. Whenever we executes this, whatever the output is, maybe the table, maybe a single value, anything it can be, it will store that inside this one. Okay, and what I can say here, I will write it as select title, or we have a title description, right? Suppose I will say description also. Basically title comma description is my column names which I have in the film table, right? Now I'm trying to display only this column names. What I will do, I will write select the column names from, instead of film I can write CTE here, because I already stored my film data. This complete output is stored in the CTE, right? If I want to display any column data, instead of writing film name, I will write CTE name. The concept here is whatever queries. See, this is a very simple select statement. Instead of if I really want to display this one, I can do that in a single line only, right? I can simply write select title comma description from film. This is single line query, so obviously we will write like this only. Don't see about this, single lines. As I said, we will write some long queries inside it, or any kind of queries inside it. Suppose if our requirement is to only display title and description, I will write directly select title comma description from film, right? But here if I need to write any long query, so for that purpose we will use CTEs. Here what I'm doing, I'm just writing any SQL query. We can write any SQL query inside the brackets after writing this with CTE as. So whatever output I will get from this, that output will be stored inside the CTE. So next, if I want to access this, I can just simply I can, if I want to display the title comma description here, instead of using film, I need to use CTE, because I already stored my complete film data inside the CTE name, right? That is the reason I'm using this name here. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Basically what CTEs will do, whatever SQL statement we will write inside the brackets after declaring the CTE, that output it will store that value or that output in the CTE. That is the reason we will understand, or we will imagine that as a kind of temporary table only. It is because it is storing the data inside it, and whenever we want to access this, we can use this by just simply calling this CTE. We can use that to display here by writing one word. It may be we can maybe save some joins here. We can maybe save we can maybe save some joins concept inside the CTE. Instead of writing that joins again and again, I'll just call the CTE whenever I want. Let's execute this and let's solve some advanced examples. So here I need to execute like this.
Divya, how long the data would be saved in cities?
That's it. If now I just executed it, right?
Hmm.
I got the output.
Okay.
I said I want to display title and description. Correct? Now
Hmm.
after my execution, the CTE will be removed. If again I will write the same line, or else if again I try to execute the same line,
Mhm.
it is showing me the error. CTE does not exist. Only for one execution, only for one query. That is what I wrote. Existence only for that particular query. Once we executed this, it won't be saved. It won't be in existence. Like that. If it is clear, let's solve some advanced examples.
And one more thing, Divya. Anyhow,
Yes,
we have an option called view, right? Then why
right.
should for the temporary and the city view then?
It's completely our choice. See, it's completely again, if you don't learn cities also, no problem. If you are perfect in using joins concept, subqueries concept, views is also, we are just trying to, instead of writing all the queries again and again, we are just storing some inside that queries inside the view, and we are by using that views we are executing the data, right? In the same way, without using CTEs, see whatever questions I'm going next. In next example, I will give you one question. Once you
Okay.
see that question, you know that the same question you solved in joins, the same question you solved in subqueries. That question again we will see how we are going to solve with the help of CTEs. So any method in real time, it's completely developer choice. End of the day, output matters. What method you are using is completely on our choice. But again, joins is okay. Subqueries, if we talk about non-correlated subqueries is okay. But correlated subqueries, we saw on that day, it will affect the performance of the database. So we don't prefer using correlated subqueries. Instead of correlated subqueries, either you can use joins or either you can use CTEs. Again, mainly, mainly we may use CTEs whenever we are solving subqueries only, because instead of writing inner query, outer query, we will store, instead of storing the value inside the subquery, we will store it in the CTE.
Okay.
Again, it's our choice. We can use anything we want.
Okay. Thank you.
But for correlated subqueries, we are having some disadvantage, right? That a performance issue, that problem we won't face with the cities. Okay, let's solve an example first.
And how about the memory storage, Divya, compared to Weave's temporary and cities at the back end?
Memory storage, see, temporary tables, once it we will close, it will remove, right?
Yes, yes.
So obviously views will take a memory of the a database to store. As how we are tables are taking the memory, views will also take some memory. Temporary tables, it is not storing only in the database, so no memory is required. CT is also the same, it won't store in the database, not up until that execution only it will existence, right?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so let's first try to solve an example. Maybe I'll use some another. I'm activating the Divya database. Here I have one database. In that I'm having some employees table. This is my data. In employees table, I have 4 columns. This is maybe employee ID, employee name, department, salary. Okay. Now let me give you one question. I'm directly copying the question. Find the average salary of employees in the IT department and list the employees who earn more than the average salary. Here I'm saying we need to first find the average salary of the employees in the IT department. This is my data. I have my employee ID, employee name. I have 2 departments only in this data, like HR and IT. HR is, I mean, this student is, this, sorry, this employee is working in HR department. This is, he is working in IT, like that. Okay. Now I'm asking, I want to find the average salary of employees in the IT department. That means we are having only 2 records here. We are having only 2 employees who are working in the IT department. I need to find the average of those 2 persons first, and I need to compare that average. Then I'm asking that list the employees who earn more than that average. First, I need to find the average of these 2 employees, and I need to compare whether any employee is working in this company, their salary is greater than this average salary, right? We solve the same example with subqueries also, like maybe this kind of example, I mean average salary and listing the employees, the same example, maybe greater than, less than, I didn't remember, but right, we solve the same with subqueries also. Almost the same maybe, but we solved, at least we solved average salary of employees. Maybe this question will be different, right? So now this is my question. Let's see the same question how we will solve by using subqueries and how we can solve by using CTEs. Okay, whenever we see such questions, what we will do, what I said in subqueries, we will understand that there are 2 questions in one single question. We need to divide that into 2 parts and we need to start writing a subquery. We have 2 parts in subquery, inner query and outer query, and whatever we write inside the inner query will be our subquery, right? I mean inner query is also called as subquery. First we need to write inner query, then we need to write outer query, correct? Let's try to see how I can write this syntax by using subqueries first. Okay, so here I'm saying I want to find the
Madam,
average salaries.
could you please hold on for a second? Actually, I'm writing the question.
Okay,
Just 1 minute.
sure, no problem, but again anyways I will upload this file, no?
No, actually, I'm also trying by my own. So,
Okay, okay, do that. If we see the question, we can even solve this question by using normal SQL statements also, right? We need to use average function here. And for employees who earn more than in particular IT department, employees who earn more than average, in the sense we will compare them by using group by clauses. We will compare them, correct? Normal SQL queries also we can use by using subqueries also.
Yeah, ma'am, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. So by if I am trying to write by using subqueries, what I will do here, I am saying first I want to find the average salary of employees in the IT department, right? So maybe I will write it as select average. First, let me, this is our column names, right? So we have a salary only as the column name. I will say select average of a
Of
salary,
salary from
that,
employees,
yeah, from employees,
where department is equal to IT.
from employees where,
Department is equal to IT.
yeah, department name, okay, department only I gave, right? Where
Yeah.
department is equals to IT. This will be our query to, which will helps us to display the average. Shushan, please mute yourself now.
Just it came out of.
Yeah, so this is normal select query which helps us to display the average salary of employees who is working in IT department, right? If I execute this, I will get the average salary 65,000. While whenever we are discussing about the subqueries also, we did the same. We will first execute this average salary, and now what we need to do, we have another question here, another part of the question. We need to write about the employees, list of the employees who earn more than that average salary. So obviously this will become my inner query, right? Because whatever value I got just now, maybe 75,000, 65,000, I forgot, that value will be stored inside this query, and I need to write outer query here. That outer query, for that outer query, I need to use one of the what we call, here we are saying more than, so I need to use any of the condition, maybe greater than, less than, and I need to compare that with this inner query, correct. So for writing outer query, now what I'm saying, I'm not giving any other conditions here. I'm just telling, I'm asking to display the employees details. So I can directly write it as select maybe star from, or else I can write it as select name, right? Select maybe employee name, comma, department also I will write, because we are giving particularly one condition here, right? Department, or else anything we can write, or else directly we can use star also. Maybe I'll do something, I'll write salary, because actually we are comparing the salaries, right? So I'll write select name comma salary from, what is our table name, employees, right? Now what I need to do to compare with this thing, obviously I will use where clause, correct. And what I need to compare, this employee's salary, I need to find the employees whose salary is more than this average salary, correct. So obviously I will write it as where salary greater than, right?
Average salary.
Yeah. Instead of that average salary, I already wrote one subquery here, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
If first it will execute this subquery, whatever value I will get, that value by with respect to that value, it will compare each and every employees, and it will display that employees who is having more than or greater than salary than, I mean the value which is greater than this average salary, that output we will get, correct. Let's see, I have only one employee whose salary is 70,000 greater than the average salary of IT. Again, here the same, I guess almost same question we solved in subqueries. So there also I said subqueries, this will be our subquery, that is inner query, this will be our outer query. If this, I can say this one as non-correlated subquery, right? Because if I execute this subquery separately, it will give me the output, correct? the output is average salary is 65,000, right? If suppose by seeing the question what I said, instead of we are writing like this, if we are writing like this we will get the answer, but this is not the what we call a dynamic way, right? As the same thing I explained there also in subqueries also, this is not the dynamic way. For now my average salary in of this table is 65,000. If the salary changes, if any new employees came, this average will be changed, right? So for that purpose we need to write a query dynamically. That 65,000 what we got, that will be saved inside the subquery, and it will be compared with this one. Instead of writing average of salary, we cannot write like this because we are using where clause. We cannot compare this with this aggregate function. That is the reason we will use subqueries. Correct? This concept and this example is clear, right?
Yeah, yeah, clear, ma'am.
So by using subqueries, we will write like this. First, subqueries will execute the inner query. Then only, depending upon that value, it executes the outer query and it displays the results. All right. Now let's see by using CTEs how we can solve this one. Okay.
Ma'am, in real time, we use subquery the most or CTE?
If it is non-correlated subqueries, we will use subqueries only. Correlated we won't use. Depending upon if we had to use correlated, maybe we use CTEs or joins. Every question we
Okay.
can do right any way, right? Some people will feel subqueries easy. I personally feel joins easy, like that. It's our choice. Because we don't have any disadvantages or any special points between joins and cities. Both are equal only. Okay. Even when we talk about the memory thing or execution thing, input output what we call that IO things, everything, we don't have any, I mean, input output disk needs will be there, right? Whenever we execute a query, how many times SQL is performing, how many times it is taking input and output, that thing we don't have any difference between joins and cities. So we can use anything we want. Whereas in subqueries, in correlated subqueries, performance issues and that input output this kind of thing, as is shown you one example in correlated, we saw how many times that each row is executing, right? So we will face that kind of issues with the correlated. That is the reason we won't use that. Okay, now let's see how we can write this query inside a CTE. Again, we know the same question. First, we need to write the average salary, and then we need to find the list of the employees who is earning, greater than that average salary. So here, previously I said we need to write it as with CTE as. By default, whenever we are writing CTEs, we won't start with select command. We will start with clause only. We can consider with as a clause. Okay, so I will write with CTE as. Here CTE will be my CTE name. According to the question, we will give the names here. Here as I want to find the average salary, I will give directly average salary here. Okay. What I'm doing, first I'm solving this thing. Average salary of employees in the IT department. So I will write it as with CTE as I'm giving my CTE name as average salary. So inside that, what I will write, obviously the same query, select average salary from employees where department is equals to IT, right? So let me just copy the same. Again, here also after writing with CTE as, we need to use the brackets. Inside the brackets only we need to write the query. The query is same, right? Select average salary from employees where department ID is equals to IT, right? Basically, we are solving the first part of the question. I'm trying to solve average salaries of employees in the IT department. Okay. Now what happens here, whatever value I will get by executing this one, that value will store inside this CTE. Okay, my CTE name is average salary here. Again, the reason why I am saying we will consider this is as a kind of temporary table, in the sense this is not a temporary table. We will just imagine it as a kind of temporary table, because we can consider here average salary is a type of table in which inside that table it is storing this value. Whenever we execute this average salary or whatever it is, if we execute average salary also, whatever output we will get, it can be considered as a table also, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Because I can say I have one row, one column, right? This is considered as a table also, correct? So basically this output is saving inside average salary. If I execute everything, I just executed only average salary, the select command, this 65,000 will save inside this average salary. So we can imagine that average salary as a table only. Going forward, now what I want to do here, what is my second part of the question? I am saying I want to list the employees, or I want to display the employee details who is earning more than this average salary. Previously in subqueries, we wrote this average as a subquery, and we wrote remaining question as the outer query. Because in subqueries, first is it will execute inner query, and that inner query or subquery, that output it will store, or after first, I mean, first it will execute inner query only, then only it will execute outer query. Okay, in CTEs, first it will execute CTEs, then only it will execute the remaining query. Okay, here basically we want to compare with the average salary, right? So like that, according to the question, based on what we are trying to find another related data, that one we need to write inside CTEs here, and the same concept we need to use inside subqueries there, correct?
Yeah, understood. Then we
So
need to
now,
write select name salary from employees where salary is greater than average salary, right?
uh, yes, let me write it. Okay, I will write it as select name. Here how we wrote name salary from employees where salary is greater than that one.
CPE.
Because here I wrote the subquery later, so directly I can compare this thing with the subquery. Here what we will do, we will use the CTE here, so I will write it as select name comma salary from employees. Same thing, name comma salaries from employees where salary greater than we wrote there, right? So here what we need to do, after writing employees here, I can simply write the CTE name. Let me complete my query, then I can explain you. Okay, now I will write where salary greater than, basically here I need to give an alias name. Okay, for this average salary I'm giving one alias name. Maybe I'll say, did you understand what I did here?
Yeah, no, ma'am.
Because previously, let's see here, in subqueries, what SQL will do whenever we execute subqueries, it will execute a subquery first, inner query first, and that output, after executing inner query only, it will execute outer query. So that is the reason, after executing inner query, we will get some value, maybe like 65,000. So directly when it will execute then outer query, so it can directly compare and it can directly display the output, right? Instead of 65,000, we wrote the query inside a subquery because it will execute first. In CTEs, I said first CTEs will be executed. This one only it will execute. Up to here, first it will execute. Okay. Whatever 65,000 we are getting, that 65,000 will be stored inside average. This inside average salary will be my table here. Okay, average salary will be my table here, and this average salary will be my column here, because I'm giving the alias name for this column. If suppose, if normally, if I execute this one, let me execute this normal query, internal, I mean, whatever I wrote inside it, I'm executing that one. Let me select it clearly. So if I write here this one, I cannot get the output because I am not mentioning the table here. So see, try to understand. inside this query, what I'm doing, I'm writing normal average, the condition, right? This condition will give me what we call, will give me the average salary. Okay, so for this average salary, I'm giving one alias name here. Suppose if I am executing this internally, what I need to do, I'll just copy this at the down. If I'm executing this internally, already I wrote from table here, so I need to use as e here. Okay, and I will say I cannot give alias name for column name here. I will give a table name, I will give alias name, and I can say e dot salary. Whenever we are using joins concept, we know for table name we will give alias name, and whenever we are performing joins, we'll write e dot, I mean the table name dot column name, right? The same concept here also. Here we are considering this as a table name. Whatever output I got, this 65,000 will be saved in average salary, this table name. This will be my table name. Inside, sorry, inside that table name, 65,000 is storing, right? That will be my column name. Let me write it. Let me show you.
Without this one, it won't work, huh? Without alias name.
Which one?
Please copy the entire code. No, just wanted to understand one thing.
One second, one second. This is the entire code. From here we are writing this entire code. Okay, here what I am saying, up to this one will be my CTE, with CTE as this one will be CTE. First it will execute this average salary, and whatever the average salary I will get, that will be stored inside the CTE. So if I execute up to here, what my output will be, here the CTE will be, we are considering it as table name, right? Suppose this average salary, this complete thing will be my table name. Okay, I'm just
Yes.
writing it as average salary. Suppose this will be my table name. Inside that table, I will get only one output, and this average salary what I wrote will be my column name, AS, suppose, and it will display 65,000 like this. Okay, so instead of, if we won't write alias name here, what, however how we will getting the output average salary, and it is displaying the, let me, suppose if I'm executing this part, only the normal SQL query if I'm executing, what happened, if normal SQL query and executing, this average salary whatever we are writing, that one I can see as a column name, right?
Yes.
And I'm storing the value here. So for the same column name, I'm trying to give the alias name here. That means instead of the same thing I gave, instead of average salary function, it will show me like average underscore salary here, right? And it is giving 65,000 for me if I write any alias name in functions. We know that, correct? Now, what I am saying, I'm storing this value inside. This will be my column name. This this average salary will be my column name. This is my column name, this is my table name. Okay, after executing this, it will come to after closing the brackets, it will come to this select statement here. See this one, what I'm saying, select the details from employees table, comma, average salaries another table. I'm writing two table names inside the select statement. Okay, this is my one first table, this is my second table, so that I can compare where salary greater than. From this table name, I am taking this column name. How we will do inside in joins, in joins we will write, select star from table 1 inner join table 2, right? On table 1 dot in common column is equals to table 2 dot common column. Here we not like joins, but directly after writing my table 1, I can write my table 2. Okay, just by keeping the comma, I can write my CTE name here, and I will just use the where clause, and I can compare the value which I stored in the CTE. I will say the CTE name dot column name. That means this will display my 65,000 here, right?
Okay.
So now I'm comparing this salary with this average table name dot column name, in the sense it is displaying 65,000 for me. So salary greater than 65,000, whatever I have, that details it will display. So to just relate this like that, again, in every table, in every city, we want to use like this according to the conditions. We can use whatever we can use here, we can use. But the concept is, whenever we are executing the CTE first, in C, whenever we are writing CTEs, the CTE will be executed first. This output, whatever we will get by inside the brackets, whatever select statement I wrote, that output will be saved inside the CTE, and this average salary, this CTE name will become my table name. That is, it is storing inside one table here. And I am just normally after here, this value is storing inside the table name, and I'm writing select whatever query I want. I'm writing here, I wrote, instead of writing one table name, I'm saying I want to display this salary from this table name comma this table name, where salary greater than, I'm taking the value from this table, this column data. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Like that. The reason why I'm writing here, in the sense, SQL will execute CTEs first, then it will execute the remaining query next. Accordingly, we can write every time. No need of writing the table name here and writing like this. We will solve one more example where we will use another condition normally. Okay. For now, this example, is that clear for everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
It's clear for me.
Okay, great.
We need,
So
ma'am, or
this,
few more examples.
I'll try to give one more example here. First, let's execute this. I didn't even executed this, right? So I wrote CT inside this, and this one, I'm just executing this one. It is displaying the same output which we got previously, correct? Only one a value we have.
Charlie.
And again, I already executed this CT. Now, if I try to display once again, of course, if I am executing everything, it will execute. Okay, because once again it will create CTE, once again it will execute. But if I try to execute only this one, it will throw me error stating average salaries table is not existing. Average salary doesn't exist, right? Correct?
Yeah.
If I execute this whole thing completely, it will give me the answer, because once again it will create the table, once again it will do everything, it will execute. But without executing the with command, like without executing the first part, if I directly execute, if suppose, if it is this temporary table, we are considering this average salary is a CTE kind of temporary table. Instead of a kind of temporary table, if it is a, if it is a matter of temporary table, it will exist till my session is, or till my workbench is closed, right? If that is so, I can use everything like this. Every time until I close this workbench, whenever I execute, this will work. But here this concept is not like that. It will just, the scope of this CTE will be existence for one execution, one query only. Okay, once I executed, it will display. If again, if I try to use this average salary table name again and again, it won't allow me to do so. It will say this table does not exist. Table does not, it is not saying me that error in the query, syntax error, it is not saying me. It is just saying me average salary table does not exist, right? So this is about the CTE. This is how we will write the CTE. However, we can use, see, the same question, the same question we can use by using normal joins also. I mean, normal SQL queries also we can write, or else by using subqueries, by using CTEs, everything. However, we can solve, right? It's completely our wish. What what topic to choose, how to write. Okay. So let me give you one more example. Okay, I think we can solve this example by using the same table, I guess. Let's see. Salary department I'm having, right? So total salary expenditure. Yeah, we can solve the same example. So same table. So my question is, find the total salary expenditure of each department. See, I'm involving joins here. If we are normally without using any cities or subcategories, by using normal joins and group by clauses also, we can display this output. If we have, like employees table separately, department table separately, we can display by using joins also, joins and group by clauses, correct? So now I'm saying I want to find the total salary expenditure for each department, and then list the departments where total salary greater than or exceeding, greater than, I mean here it's both the same. I can say total salary, the department total salary if it is exceeding 1 lakh. Okay, find the total salary expenditure for each department. Here I'm having two departments, right? IT and HR department. Each department, what is the total salary expenditure? How much salary they are spending on the each department? And I need to list the departments where that total salary is exceeding. Suppose here what I need to do, I need to add, I am having only 4 rows. For IT department, what is the salary we are giving for IT department employees? 60 plus 70, right? What is the salary of HR department? 50 plus 55. So we need to list 50 plus 55 also it will exceed the 1 lakh. 60 plus 70 also it is exceeding the 1 lakh, right? Like that we will just combine the complete department table, we will find the total salary, and we are trying to in the second question we are trying to compare whether that particular department salary is greater than 1 lakh or not. Okay, did you got my question?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let's try to see directly by using the CTEs here. How we will write it as department salary. We are
Well,
done
can
with
we
the
try
time now.
this so that you can explain tomorrow?
Yeah, actually, we are done with the time also. They're calling me. We need to end the session today. So, what you are asking tomorrow?
Yeah, yeah. Can we try? Then we can explain. You can explain tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah. Anyways, we will continue this question tomorrow. Once we are done with this question, please don't expect so many examples from me. You can explore the examples in online also. The concept, try to understand the CTE's concept. First, it will execute the, the CTE part, and then it will execute this one. Okay. We don't have any disadvantages here with the CTEs. We can use either CTEs or normal joins, no problem. Okay, let's solve this example, and after this we will done with the series and we will start stored procedures tomorrow. Okay, if you have any doubts in cities you can ask me, but I cannot give you many examples. This two examples is enough. You can explore many examples in online. Okay, you will get many examples. The concept is same. Even in subqueries also I gave normal, limited examples only, right? Because joins we use most frequently, that is the reason I gave many examples only on joins. Okay, is that fine?
Sure, ma'am. And ma'am, what are the things left after city?
Store procedures, that's it. And then I ER diagrams also I didn't explain, and I need to explain interview questions also.
And ma'am, there is something called the rank, dense rank, something a
Yeah,
row
that is,
number.
yeah. In even in the last class, whenever I'm explaining interview questions, you can see that questions. That is important actually. That comes under Windows functions. Rank and deaths rank. We will discuss inside the interview questions only, we will discuss that two things. Okay.
Yeah, please take that note because I heard that people are
Sure,
asking
sure.
questions on
Yeah,
it.
yeah. I said also previous class also I said definitely I will cover that, because that will be the definite question in interviews, the rank and ends rank. So we will see in the interview questions only. We will see that how we will solve that. Basically, those are functions only. It won't take much time to explain them. Okay.
Sure, ma'am. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys. Let's meet tomorrow.